Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Pillars of Eternity. As I continue with my blind Let's Play, I think this should be the video that I actually beat the game with. Just started the recording again, and we'll see. Anybody that's, just now coming in, if you want to, go back and watch the Let's Play, feel free. Anybody who's stuck with me all this time, thank you so much. I'll also thank you towards the end. It's been, really fun and awesome. I think that's the spot. Sun in shadow.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we note a rather sharp drop somewhere around here?
I love how dark it is in here.
Full of surprises, aren't you?
I'm here.
Look at that. A city to put all others to shame. And long lost.
Can you do that again? I had something in my eye. Missed most of it.
Oh my gosh, I love the banter. Well, it looks great. Let's go forward and see what happens. Well, actually, the bridge is out, so let's go around. A lot of people here, looks like. Ingwith and Shade. Nice. Just taking a brief look at them really quickly.
That's not...
Settle!
All right. Oh, look at this. Shadow Drake. Oh, there was more than... Oh, well. Heal the companion. Heal little Mark.
That's not very helpful.
Okay, then revive. It'll mark now. And heal.
Charge!
This thing isn't...
It's no use. I need to...
All right. Okay, we could jump across there. Hang on. Let's continue taking a look around. I do like the idea that we're just slowly lighting the place up with our souls and everything.
Onward! Dead on!
Ooh, Alof. Second wind. And Pelagina, lay on hands, Alof, right now.
Reros! Ceres! Onward!
There we go. Oh, that's the actual court. Oh, so... Oh, and then we can go back, so never mind. That's probably the spot. We'll rest up before we go in there. Actually, yeah, let's go over here really fast. I'm gonna save it right before. I like how it gave us a pre-game, pre-endgame save. That's awesome. Yeah, let me save it right here. Long segment of bridge rises over the ruins of the ancient city. It looks stable enough, but the wide gap leaves little room for error. Let's do it. Kana gets a running leap over the gap. However, Kana cries out upon landing and collapsing on the other side in tangled limbs. Good thing we have not rested yet. Camping supplies, ring of overseeing. Awesome. Trying to remember that ring. Oh yeah, Gowan's pledge. Or no, that's what I have equipped. My bad. So let's jump again. Ankle grasp. Kana climbs to safely. Ah, poor Kana.
Indeed.
Always struggling with those. Alright. So yeah, before we continue, let us rest up right here. So yeah, I think this will be the final time we make camp. Unless this complex is a lot bigger than I thought. So yeah, let's also save. And I know, even though it's kind of ironic that a couple parts ago I asked, about the audio quality and whatnot, and I just went ahead and recorded the parts to the end of the game. So it seems, very silly of me, but we'll, I think from what I've checked, because I've checked every time I've recorded the videos since, and it seems fine on my end. But oh man, this is it. This looks like it's it. Look at this place. That looks awesome. Love it. Alright, let's get going. Oh wait, hang on. Adair has something he has to say.
Hope I didn't seem ungrateful back there in the battlefield. And you went out of your way.
You had a lot on your mind.
Got real close. Didn't expect that. Now, for a second, I thought I was gonna finally see some answers. Foolish, of course. And why should I get answers? There's a world of Aethasians out there, don't know if their god's been blown up. Still, man can't help looking back. Guess you'd know that well as anyone.
He stares off, focusing on some distant thing, unseen and unrealized.
I might have turned my back on my god when he needed me. That's all I'll ever know.
I'm gonna say, what would your brother have to say about that?
He'd tell me to trust him. Of course, it'd be a lot easier if I knew it was mine. But, maybe I don't need to. Something to think about, I guess.
Yes?
Indeed. That is a lot of people. Excuse me.
Are you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen? I am trusting you to remain loyal to the gods in this. If you do not, you will have greater powers than me to answer to. But you will answer to me as well. I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
This is a missionary, same as I was, taught the wrong things as I was. Oceanus. They have held off many would-be invaders.
You are ready to give a confession?
I am ready to hear one from you.
Quest complete. Excuse me. You've come to a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with Audra and trimmed with copper. At the far end of a great pillar of Audra pierces the floor from below like a ragged spike. Its shimmering texture giving the illusion of boundless depth. Your thoughts are yours and not yours. They are all questions. At the base of the pillar stands Theos, a look of concern on his face as he notes your approach. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all others, spinning madly in your mind. But you don't dare ask it yet. You need some admission from him first, some hint of veracity of your suspicions.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here?
Was Avara telling the truth?
That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility that my people sacrificed everything to build.
Was the entire Inquisition based on a lie?
The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound.
And all these statues, who are they of?
They are monuments to Woodica's greatest servants among my people. I hope to join them myself one day, but my work is not yet complete.
That machine behind you, what does it do?
It has many uses, but its purpose is to bring structure to the chaos that surrounds it.
In this place?
We are in a sanctum holy to Woodica. There are others like it in service to the other gods. I come here often to pray for her counsel, and in this space I may be assured that she hears me.
You are shaking now, having lost all patience for tact. No more evasions. You have to know everything you believed, everything you have done for the gods. Did you lie to me when you said the gods could end suffering? Theos says nothing. Are there no gods?
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? Something men can turn to in their darkest moments when their days seem only like bridges from one tragedy to the next. Our gods are all these things.
With Theos, every word you find yourself losing control of a boiling cauldron of rage. and doubt and fear and hopelessness until you can't take it anymore. Are there no gods?
We are in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. This is not the time. You've been through much these past few months. You will return home and you will rest. When you feel you have recovered, you may rejoin us at the trials. The Inquisition is far from over, and I will have need of you. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. The Inquisition will not end until we have pronounced judgment on all of them.
His eyes linger on you, and there's no mistaking at the threat behind it, and your rage shrinks at the image of an iron wheel in your mind, monolithic and caked with the dried blood of thousands. You do not ask your question again.
How did you find it?
I didn't. It was Lady Webb.
Another in a string of acts of petty defiance. For all her knowledge, she always preferred spite over reason.
You know she loved you, right?
Then she should have obeyed. I ask one thing of all my followers. She was incapable. A waste of rare talent and intellect.
Blind obedience is a lot to ask for someone with a mind of their own.
What of your cohorts, then? They have followed you to their deaths. Is it loyalty that brings them here? Or is it, as my agents suggest, that they have no direction of their own? You worshipped Aethys, did you not?
Your spies are good. What gave me away? The cape?
Yet when your god needed you the most, you chose your country.
We were being invaded. Not by anyone who was acting like a god.
Then I should think your hometown gave you a hero's welcome when you returned.
Well, they made cake. And I think you can expect folks to get jumpy when the gods aren't there to reassure them. Maybe if they weren't all too busy trying to kill each other.
I love Adair so much. He's so good. Honestly, all the companions are. The ones I've, had the privilege to meet, so.
The gods argue over how best to prevent Kith society from destroying itself. These disruptions would not be necessary were mortal instinct not so diseased. You have devoted yourself to studying the work of my people. Why?
I thought your people had much to teach us. That we too could create great machines, improve our ships, make an empire as vast and impressive as yours ever was, built upon your secrets.
And did you ever consider that these were things you were never meant to understand? That their comprehension is beyond you?
Oh, it's not voice acted. He says, I know better. The Ingwithans weren't an infallible race. You were never gods. All your petty experiments, your heinous crimes, your glorious achievements, you were just people. And your time came and went. Ingwith is a lesson now for those who remain.
You are living in the time of my people, Amawa. You owe them more than you will ever comprehend, and so it shall ever be. Greater civilizations than yours have attempted to reclaim what we buried. The greater their successes, the worse their fates in the end. I have seen to it. I understand your Duke's bells gave you a mission.
He turns to Palagina.
Their orders do not absolve me of my greater responsibility to the safety and well-being of the republics.
You might want to skip over this one, Theos. Don't want to pick a fight you can't win.
Yet you disobeyed. Something you already have a reputation for. They will know, of course. If it had been for a worthy cause, they might have forgiven you. But I don't see them pursuing animancy after seeing what it's done here. They trusted you, and you disappointed, as you always have. And you will again be disowned.
The parents scold, but the children are safe. Whether animancy research continues in the republics or not, they will survive. For now, that's enough. In any case, I wouldn't be so smug about my fate, Theos. I imagine Woodica responds to disappointment much more severely than even my dukes.
State your name and purpose, young acolyte.
My name belongs to the gods, in my hand to their service. And I'm going to purge it of your stain.
You serve none but yourself. Without contact with your order, you can have no higher purpose. Only the base concerns of the flesh. You have cast yourself from our ranks.
No. I've risen above them. I'll take the leaden key and lead in a way that you, who remained nothing more than a slave to the gods, never could.
A leader without insight, directing an organization that does not question. Quite a vision, Initiate. You are far from home, dwarf.
I knew my hunt would send me a long way from Masuk. It was a challenge I was glad to undertake for my village.
A journey, then? It must be of some import to take you so far and to last so long.
What's important is that I'll return soon. And when I do, I'll spend my time where it matters.
So it was worth it, then, to tell a dying beast of things it neither understood nor had memory of. You are here because you are lost. The gods cannot reach everyone, I'm afraid. May you fare better in your next lives. I gather you have had your soul awakened. Why else would you shadow my footsteps like some stray mongrel? You think I have something to offer you, but our business was concluded long ago.
I'm gonna say... what do you know of our business?
You think your abilities only flow in one direction. That isn't how it works, I'm afraid. Not for me. For all that you saw of my soul in the sanitarium, I saw as much of yours.
I lived my life by the lies you told. You owe me the truth.
I answered your questions once. That your soul is not fit to accept the answers is of little concern to me. I lied to no one. Not to you, not to anyone. The gods are real. They are everything we need them to be, and the world is better for it.
You have lied to everyone, yourself most of all.
I have no illusions about the costs involved. But what your brief lifespan obscures is that it is what must be done. The heart of this country has skipped a beat, nothing more. I have done far worse. I plunged the peaceful kingdom of Telosus into civil war. I slew the monarch of Desantio, whose people never knew hardship under his rule, and replaced him with a cruel despot who brought them to ruin. When plague arrived at the great city of Arborensis, I saw to it that the cure did not. They piled their dead outside the city in heaps that rose above their walls.
So this is supposed to diminish the damage you've done here?
It is to show the proper perspective. There was a time, back when your soul was still a shapeless mist, when the world believed only in false gods. Thousands of them. Gods that told them to take slaves. Gods that told them to make war upon their neighbors and devour the slain. Gods that told them to burn their children alive and cover themselves in the ashes as a sign of their faith. But all that changed when they learned of the true gods. Our gods. All those misshapen, bestial instincts melted beneath the radiance of our god's majesty. You could see it in their eyes. That dull emptiness replaced with the glimmer of a kindled spark.
The spark of false hope.
There is no false hope. Only hope for things that never come. Have you imagined this existence? The one the apostate would have created. We are not all so virtuous as she. Without our gods, the most wicked, the most tyrannical, they would take that power for themselves.
And they might.
But more than that, it would be a hollow existence. All mysteries forever unanswered. All purposes constructed from meaninglessness. No endings to bring closure. Only a wheel turning without mercy, grinding our spirits to dust.
I'm gonna say that you underestimate people. Now, granted, people can be very stupid, yes. But I'm still gonna say this because, you know, despite, I'd say there's other people in this world that, you know, I would think would do good and accept this, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna say you underestimate people.
For all my years, I have seen exactly what they are capable of. What the apostate asked was beyond any man. All I have seen, the millennia of experience. I will not be dissuaded from this course. This is the only way.
I really don't think he's gonna admit that there's no gods. Or, you know. So I'm gonna say that you must be stopped.
You are not the first to say that. Nor will you be the last. As long as the cycle churns, my work will continue, unbroken. With your soul and thousands of others, I will see this world purged of its suffering. Hear me, Woodica. Your servant calls for aid. Roark 10!
Oh, wow. Oh, they look so cool. They look so cool. Okay. Wodika's judge. Wodika's headsman. Love it. Love it. That's awesome. I don't know whether to focus on Theos or focus on them. Let's focus on the headsman, I think. Aloth, start shooting those missiles. Do that. Pagina, do that. Adair. Knock him down, try to. Do a sweep. Let's try it. And then forgive me, this seems really loud on my end, so I apologize if this is really loud. Alright. Let's do it again. Aloth. Do it again. And you know what, Aloth? Move over there. Ooh, okay, he just got hit bad. Oh my goodness. Aloth's kind of struggling right now. Okay, yeah, keep going, Aloth, keep going. Damn it. Okay, he's near death.
How may I help?
Okay. Do that. Goodness. Okay, Ilmark just died, so try to revive him. Okay, and then heal him, if you can. Okay, Pelagina. Second wind. Aloth, move away if you can. Oh my goodness.
How may I help? Indeed.
There we go. Okay, finally. Does he have any healing? You know, do this. Or not that. Ooh, wrong button. And Pelagina, actually, Pelagina heal Aloth. go. Oh my goodness. Heal yourself. Adair second wind. Aloth. Shoot some missiles. And who just died? Oh, it'll mark. Kana second wind. Wow, that explosion.
Let's highlight!
Uh-oh. That's not good. Okay, Aloth, do cold.
Yes?
And that just hit Adair by accident.
Curses!
Whoops, hang on.
I'm here.
Stand! Your... Let's end this!
Lava roof.
Let's end...
Artifact.
For Takar!
Hang in there, guys. Hang in there.
Your fort...
Okay.
Artifact. Wood.
You know, we haven't used this spell, I don't think. Let's try it. Barely injured, damn it.
Hey.
Oh, wrong thing.
Curse my...
Curses!
Oh, so I think that's healing him. I think that's what's happening. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. Ooh, Adair. Hang in there.
Artifact.
And we are gonna... I really don't know what to do. Here, let's do that for him. Dang, he's a lot tougher than I thought he would be. Granted, he is the final boss. Let's try to knock him down. Ooh, Pallegina's barely hanging on. Don't know if she's gonna make it. Let's see.
Hey. Curses!
We did it. At your feet rests the body of Theos, hollow, the dense wrinkles shaped by the silent shouldering of an eternal burden, now smooth across his color-drained face. His soul remains still for the moment, defenseless, his energy expended in defeat. It lies sprawled across his body like a death shroud.
All those lifetimes spent to preserve a single vital secret. I can't imagine having that much certainty.
After journeying for lifetimes,
excuse
I
me.
can't imagine his failure, knowing it was all for nothing.
In his own way, Theos must have truly believed he was caring for the people of Aeora, protecting them from themselves. A shame his soul won't have a chance to reflect on his errors before it enters the wheel.
He was good at serving his god, I give him that. He should have picked a better one.
All those lives. And at the end of them, he was no better than the very people he sought to guide. A pity he would ever have to face that realization again.
So let's explore Theos' soul. With a deep breath, you plunge into Theos' soul, and where in Brackenberry it had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends, now it's an expansive and borderless. Its walls crumble into heaps like ruins of Ingwith as you pass through them. You travel for what seems like ages, rushing to a known destination, a memory you glimpsed once before. At last you see it. No more than a pinprick of light at the end of a long tunnel, expanding slowly at first and quickly as you near. You come out in the room you are standing in now, but it is not new and pristine and filled with people, thousands of them, all turned towards the great Audra pillar and the machine that encases it. Theos stands at the machine, and you are one with him now. Look at the crowd, at faces shriveled old men and creaked, oh goodness, little girls, and mothers bouncing infants to quiet them, and fathers clasping their children, restless hands, and watching you with somber acceptance. A woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn back towards the machine. Your breaths constrict. Breathe the weight of an unwanted knowledge, preparing yourself to set out alone on a journey without end. You close your eyes and open them again to find the machine still in front of you. You take your place in front of it and place your hands upon a large mechanical disc at the base of the great crystal column and speak a single word. Giant rings creak to life, building speed, setting arrays of carved draconic mouths glow, and sending tremors through the platform beneath you. The entire room shakes now with the force of the accelerating machine, all sounds drowned out by its deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light are outward from the pillar in all directions, and you look over the shoulder to see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like a hot iron. One by one, the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where people once stood. Many of them degenerating into gray heaps under the stress of the tremors. You look above the Audra pillar, and the glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column where the arcs converge. It grows and pulses, translucent and bulbous like some immense chrysalis, suspended in slow rotation, as though it were being spun from the arcs of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs for a moment, no longer rotating so bright you must shield your eyes with an outstretched hand, and seems to you as though it is looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement, and look back up to see it melt into the pillar like warm candle wax. The pillar flares with a flash of light, bright as the sun itself, then fades to darkness. The machine slows down to an abrupt halt, and when the last echo of its grinding cogs has passed, the chamber is still, and you are alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed in through the memory, and you find yourself in your own skin once more, looking down on Theos' lifeless body. You sense a listless into Theos' soul, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape. It makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it. You're able to do with it as you please. Ooh. Let's see. I'm thinking either returning him to the cycle or tearing his soul apart. But I'm not sure. I wonder what consequences that will have when if I tear his soul apart, you know? I'm gonna do it, I think. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tear his soul apart. I do not envy you, Theos. I of all people realize the sway memories can hold. It is time you are granted peace.
An end to doubt and certainty alike.
A quick end. This is a mercy.
It is an ending, even if there is little justice in it.
You reach out for Theos' soul and you can feel its frailty and defeat, its texture like a coarse and threadbare cloth on the brink of degeneration. You insinuate yourself between the threads, pushing the weaving part, unraveling the stitching until it is bereft of structure, a formless heap bound together by nothing at all. In the midst, you dedicate your focus on a single idea. The idea is shatter. You concentrate, and as you concentrate, you feel a force building within your soul, an outward pressure that strains against containment, threatening to rupture your spirit. When you can contain it no more, you transfer it to Theos' soul, all at once. You realize there a detonation of will that expands in all directions, driving out the remnants of his essence, scattering it into nothingness. You feel his presence no more. In the stillness that follows, a single word echoes through your mind, a word you spoke when you were with Theos in ancient memory. You realize it is the word that activates the machine.
Indeed.
And thus is the end of Theos. And pardon me, I know it's been a little bit now, but pardon me during that that dialogue, that was completely unexpected. And maybe you might not even noticed it, but I don't know, I have to go back on the recording. That was pretty embarrassing. But alas. And before we activate that, I need to talk to everybody. I just noticed. Let's level up for the heck of it. Okay, let's talk to Adair.
Theos, he had hold of your soul from a long time back, seems like. You get what you needed from him?
I got an answer to an old question.
Those can be hard to come by. I feel for people still looking for theirs. Easy to see what it means to them to have someone to look to for answers. You'll be feeling better soon then. Good. That's real good. You got it figured out what you're going to do about all that?
I think so, yes.
Got a lot of people out there thinking they've been abandoned by their gods. There's not much that'll put the fear in you more than that. You can take my word for it. If it was in my power, and I know it's not, but if it was, I'd send every last one of those souls right back where they were supposed to go in the first place. So folks could get back to believing what they used to. And after what you've been through, though, I'm sure you got your own ideas. Better make it good.
So much for Theos, then. Now you have a chance to set things right, back to the proper order of things. It will take the Deerwood generations to recover, but at least these souls will find their way back to the wheel. as it should be.
We've come to the end of it, my friend. It has been an honor to walk this road with you, and I will regret our parting.
Perhaps you will see each other again someday. I will not stay in Rautag long. If it means to change, I see there is nothing else I can do to stop it. But there are many places yet to see, mysteries to unravel. I'll try to keep your example. Shall I? I will tell you all those I come across, that there is one watcher at least, who defied her fate, and by that, they will know that all things can be accomplished.
Astounding. I always knew the Leaden Key stood for something big, but I didn't quite realize what I'd gotten myself into. And now, you're in the middle of something even bigger. With a decision that will affect millions. This is beyond either of us. The certainty of the gods is a mercy. Power like this is a heavy burden. Just look at how it crushed Theos. Perhaps he was right to surrender it to Woodica.
I could just say Theos was wrong. I'm gonna say maybe so.
It's your decision, of course. And whatever you decide, I'm glad our paths crossed in Gilded Vale.
And Sagani.
Never thought I'd see something like this in my travels. Lends a little perspective, doesn't it? All of these notions of who we are, what shapes us. None of it really matters, does it? And yet, if we could heal these broken families, I suppose our journey would be worth something.
For everything, Sagani, thank you for traveling with me.
I'd probably still be twiddling my thumbs by the side of the road if you hadn't come along. Thanks for bringing us this far.
Alright, we are very bruised, broken. You know what, let's rest one more time for the heck of it. Because why not? This would be our final camping spot. You know what? And I will save it right here. With your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Theos once stood, before his people long ago. The great machine lies in front of you, idle, ready. You have seen this machine and others like it in operation. You understand how it works. It is a device for directing souls. As a watcher, it would be a simple matter to influence that direction. Though as big as the machine is, it may be the last thing you ever do. So speak the command and activate the machine. There is shrieking of stone grinding against the stone cogs loosen and begin to turn. You only have moments before the souls will be sent into the Audra vein. This will be your only chance of redirecting them. Ooh. So what I'm thinking, you're thinking returning them into the cycle, to the wheel, or return the souls to the bodies they were intended for. I know Adair wanted me to send it to the ones they were intended for, and I know Pelagina wanted me to send it back to the cycle. I think, as my final decision, and we'll see how this works out whenever I play Pillars of Eternity 2, I will return them back into the cycle. You close your eyes and expand your perception outward, taking into the immense totality of tens and thousands of souls orbiting the chamber. You grasp on the souls as tenuous. You find yourself fighting to keep them all within your influence, and you can feel them slipping away from you as the machine gains speed. A brief moment comes when it feels as though you hold all of them at once, and there's a force so great it feels as though it will tear you apart. In that moment, you dedicate your entire being to bending their orbit, channeling their flow into a new direction.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument. spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale, pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Theos used to enter Sun and Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Ter Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Theos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the lost souls of the Hollowborn were funneled back into the churn of Bareth's wheel to find their way into new vessels and partake in the life they had been denied during Widewind's legacy. Though parents of Hollowborn would remain just that, the end of Widewind's legacy would bring about a spate of new, healthy births, with many of the infants bearing souls once meant for Hollowborn children. The natural cycle of life and death had been restored to Deerwood, and with it came a renewed faith in the providence of the gods. Though you had killed Lord Radric in his throne room, so strong was his drive to rid his land of Eothasians that he returned to life as a death guard, a deathless crusader for his brutal cause. With the remains of his humanity stripped away, Radric came to see all the people of Gilded Vale as worshippers of Eothas, and one day he led his forces into the village personally to see them all purged from his lands. Gilded Vale was left a hollow shell, its buildings ruined, and its people slaughtered. Even travelers and would-be squatters knew better than to take refuge inside its borders. Lord Radric returned to Radric's Hold, where he remained, keeping eternal watch over his barren domain.
Wow.
Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But order was soon re-established by the Knights of the Crucible, who, despite their depleted numbers, had gained favor in the public eye for their role in the unraveling of the conspiracy surrounding Widewind's legacy, and were quickly reinforced by returning forces from Fleetbreaker Castle. For the Knights, their resurgence marked a return to the tradition as well. Having seen firsthand the dangers presented by dabblers in animancy, the Order quickly abolished the practice internally, preferring the familiarity of their hammers and forges to the uncertainties of Essence and Adra. Their identity rediscovered, the Knights suppressed their political aspirations and began once again to train their recruits in the art of blacksmithing, recapturing the post-revolutionary ideals of Deerwood and regaining the respect of its citizens as a result. Though the machine atop Ter Noaneth had been disabled, it had not seen its last use. Heritage Hill was rebuilt, and no sooner had the first families moved in to resettle the district than members of the Leaden Key, acting under standing orders from their Grand Master, climbed the tower and reactivated the machine. The initiates slew a handful of the new settlers under cover of night and watched as history repeated itself, the victims reanimating and devouring the survivors. After this second incident, the district would remain abandoned. The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay. But those who had escaped the melee and the palace hearings remembered the testimonies of the strange guest who had shown up that day and absolved animancy, implicating the Leaden Key instead. The rumor spread quickly, and soon the popular belief was that the assassin had been a Leaden Key spy. When the legacy had lifted, people came to see it not as a sign that the riots had been according to the gods' wishes, as Theos had hoped, but as a confirmation that animancy had never been the source of the problem in the first place. Deerwoodans instead convinced themselves that the riots had somehow purged Defiance Bay of Leaden Key spies, and that the end of Weidwin's legacy was their well-deserved reward. The rage against animancers was quickly forgotten, and those who had survived were permitted to return to Brackenbury Sanitarium and rebuild it so they might resume their studies. The Hollowborn scourge ended, and healthy children were born once more in the villages of the White March. Yet this new generation displayed an uncanny vigor and a hunger for exploration. In time, they would push across the White March, establishing new towns and restoring forgotten settlements. What had once been a region in decline became a thriving frontier, known for its famous artisans and explorers. Under Tanna's guidance, Stalwart's mines were restored, albeit slowly and with half a dozen accidents. However, this did not forestall the arrival of scores of prospectors, many of them brigands and outlaws, and all of them eager to profit from the White Forge. By the time Stalwart reopened its mines, half a dozen others had been excavated in the nearby peaks. The lawless men and women who ran them became a constant source of competition and violence for the beleaguered village. The opening of Durgan's battery created ample opportunities for the smugglers that already prowled the mountains. The law-abiding villagers of Stalwart did their best to bar the gates against these ruffians, yet they somehow found a way into the village, where they spit in the streets and shouted over games of dice. While the villagers fretted and gossiped about their rowdy visitors, few noticed Owina's midnight errands, or the extra coin that passed to her as she served food and drink to the boisterous patrons. And while Stalwart celebrated the discovery of the White Forge, they spoke little of the Watcher. Eventually, the Watcher's name faded from their tales, even while the White Forge blazed on. The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur. The Audra dragon known as the Master Below, her soul now housed in the body of the huntress Fallen Roet, passed out of Deerwood in relative anonymity, her final destination unknown, even to herself. She was last seen in the port town of Road's End, boarding a ship, an Audra talisman glowing about her neck. Palagina had gone against the Duke's Bell's orders by inventing a new trade arrangement with the Anamenfath to accommodate the recovering Deerwooden market. With the Deerwood's people still weakened by Weidwin's legacy, the Valian republics easily pushed their would-be competitors out of the market. For her outrageous insubordination and audacity, Palagina was banished from the republics. She traveled north in the Eastern Reach, avoiding Valian ports and entering the ranks of the kind wayfarers. Despite her bravery and dedication to those in her care, her strange appearance made her feel like an outsider wherever she went. Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Through a number of quiet inquiries, he soon found his way into the underground organization of Aethasians known as the Night Market. Ironically, in learning that the gods had been fabricated, Adair found his faith in Aethus renewed, and that his god was neither alive nor truly a god had become irrelevant. He rose quickly through the ranks of the Night Market for his optimism and for his bold leadership, his ultimate goal to make the Deerwood a place that would welcome followers of the Shining God once again. When the dust settled in Sun and Shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Theos Ix Arcanon, his former master. He saw where the Grandmaster had gone wrong, and he knew what he would do better. The secret of the gods would be preserved, and with it, the sanity and well-being of all Kith. He donned the remains of Theos's ceremonial garb, and prepared himself for the long and lonely task ahead. With the Watcher's goals accomplished and his own vows fulfilled, Kanorua sailed back toward Rawatai, thinking on the lessons his travels had provided him. By the time he landed at Tekoa, he understood what his path must be. Standing before the Lore College, Kanarua explained that the tablet he sought had been destroyed, and so a true interpretation of the Tonvi Oratoa could no longer exist. The people of Rawatai would have to create their own. He described the many strange things he had seen in his travels, and announced his intent to pursue the accumulation of knowledge abroad, seeking answers to new questions. True to his word, Kana soon set sail on yet another expedition, and in Tekoa, his passionate accounts inspired many to follow in his footsteps. With Theos defeated and the souls released from Sun and Shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Deerford, where, to the astonishment of the villagers, she delivered the first healthy child in over a decade. She remained there, and with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Deerwood, and a measure of grace for her own troubled past. Durrance continued to blame Woodica for the atrocities of the Saints' War. Believing Magrin to have been a pawn in the machinations of the Queen that was, and feeling that Theos's expulsion had been a step towards reconciliation with his goddess, Durrance tried for a time to reopen communication with her. When only silence came, he took it as a condemnation of his continued existence. Ultimately, he built a pyre and threw himself upon it, using his own shattered staff as kindling.
Oh my gosh!
After 5 years of searching for Persak, Sagani's 4-month journey home felt longer still. The Deerwood, Air Glonfoth, the Valian Republics became places on a map, endless expanses of green between her and Nasitak. Her homecoming was celebrated by all of Masuk, yet it was the reunion with Kalu and their children that truly brought her joy. She relinquished her role in the long hunts, and ever after, she and Itumak spent their days working in the village and their nights at her hearth. She watched her own children and their children grow and thrive. When she finally passed, she lay surrounded by the affection and tears of 5 generations. For you, the death of Theos brought an end to your waking visions and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. Unfortunately, you would have little time to contemplate the matter. Soon after your victory at Sun and Shadow, rumors of a monstrous army swept the Deerwood. What first sounded like superstition and drunkards' tales turned out to be much more. Enormous creatures of flesh and iron found you and brought the walls of your keep down upon you.
Wow. Well, I know we're in the, the next game. That's all those choices, even all the ones I, hadn't completed. Oh, wow. Poor Durrance. That was definitely my bad. I'm surprised the grieving mother, came back and had an ending. I was really surprised about that. Hang on, let me get through this. Just to get to the menu, but thank you, all the developers of this game. It has been amazing. Even though I'm flying through this. That it's just... I don't know what to say. Let's see, I was kind of surprised, Radric came back. Was kind of destroying Gilded Vale. I liked how the Knights Crucible, they, stopped Animancy, kind of went back to their roots. I liked that aspect of it. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I guess because I didn't complete the White March, that, those constructs, came. I'm gonna say, I guess story-wise, that there was a lot of deaths, and you know, we were able to fight them off, quote unquote. We'll see how that happens in the second game. I mean, I don't know. I might have to take some of that back. But yeah. And then just the thing about Heritage Hill. Gosh, so many choices. I'm glad all that was voice acted. That ending. I mean, all that was good. I really, just to sum it up, I really enjoyed this game, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm gonna preface this and say I plan to finish out Dragon Quest XI, the post game. You know, and I think go through that before I go into Pillars of Eternity 2. So just kind of bear with me. And I know the next several days I probably won't put out more videos. I'm gonna try to start recording on Dragon Quest and put those out at some point, and then go into Pillars of Eternity 2. And both of those I'm looking forward to. Gosh. Man, all those choices. And yeah, it's been a pleasure of, you know, just recording these videos and getting through these games. And thank you, all of you, for sticking with me. And watching. It's been great. And Alan, thank you so much for tuning in and leaving the comments. You know, thank you, my friend. It's been good. Well, I guess I'll end the video. I mean, I guess I could say more, but I think that's it for right now. I will see where this leads into Pillars of Eternity 2. And I'm really looking forward to that game. One last thing I will say is I'm going to have to do some tests and whatnot on the audio, you know, for, you know, any other games and whatnot, and just to see how that's going to, you know, turn out. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. I greatly appreciate all of you taking the time out to watch these videos. Even, you know, just to watch parts of them, you know, just thank you. Wherever you guys are, have a good day, have a good night, and as always, take it easy out there, everyone.